This is something that was more relevant last week, but it's come back up today. So we're going to talk about it now. Last week, Payne Haas said, look, maybe I play for Samoa, maybe I won't. I wrote an article on it, said I think it's great for International Rugby League because this feels like the second version of Tonga coming through when Jason Taumalolo and Andy Fafita messed the system up. Well, that's how it was placed at the time. Taumalolo obviously can't play Origin because he played for the Kiwis. Fafita still played Origin. Payne Haas will be the first player picked for New South Wales. The Hammer has come out and said that he wants to play for Samoa again too. I believe he played for Australia in the centres maybe last year. Pretty handy player. What are your thoughts on players playing for Tier 2 nations in Origin? I argue that you can't end the Tier 2 because the second that you do, Jerome Luai, Brian Toto say, whoop, we're out. And Samoa and Tonga go straight back down. I think this is great all round.
Yeah, look, as I said, the more players that defect, the better the international game grows. The situation that you're finding it though is that, like, for every one, like, there's out of all of those names, Payne Haas is really the only one that you turn around and go, if you're an Aussie, Payne Haas is the one where you go, that sucks.
Yeah.
That actually really sucks, right? New Zealand are getting the kick in the teeth here because people are throwing all these, fantasy sides of Jerome Hughes going and playing for Samoa and being the number 7 for Samoa and, partnering him with Jerome Luai. And, they're talking about Tarpany defecting and going over to Tonga and all these, you're like, New Zealand are the ones who took, Adam Fanua-Blake never played a game for him. And you're telling me that he wouldn't be one of the first props picked for them? Australia have got a really, really big nursery, and you're seeing, like, in the juniors these days, the Australian schoolboys tour is almost gonna get cancelled because it's just not worth it. Like, Australia beat New Zealand last year by a combined total of, like, 180 points over the 3 games in the Australian schoolboys. The Yeah, it's the ones that are defecting seem to, like, hurt New Zealand more than they do, and that's because they're born in, they might be born in New Zealand, but they're raised over here, and then they grow up playing for Sydney clubs, and all of a sudden that New Zealand heritage doesn't mean too much to them, but their nana and pop mean so much to them, so they go and play for Samoa or Tonga. So I'm all for it. You can't knock the tier 2, like, you can't promote Samoa and Tonga into that tier 1 because, as you said, the minute you go, "Well, Samoa, you guys are really good now," you go tier 1, all of a sudden all these guys come back to Australia. And they won't play for Australia. Like, not all of them. Like, I don't think Jerome Luai would play for Australia, for example.
Yep. No, that's fair. I think Origin's the key here because as much as we want international league to be the pinnacle, it's Origin. I mean, the match payments alone are staggering. That's life changing if you get
Yeah.
picked for Origin. Like Sue Lee played what 7 minutes and got paid 150 grand or something ludicrous. Or maybe it's 50 grand. I think this is great for the international game because Samoa and Tonga are very close. We've seen them beat New Zealand, we've seen them beat Australia. They haven't won a major tournament yet, but I think this year, while Australia is in England, Samoa, Tonga, and New Zealand have to play a tri-series.
Yeah.
There's every chance that we see Tonga or Samoa, they may play in the final. Like
Yeah,
it's
that would smoke New Zealand at the moment,
yeah.
especially if Jerome Hughes defects.
Oh, it's super exciting. And then the next World Cup, which is in Australia and a bit in PNG, you are talking like 4 genuine teams plus England that could win the thing. Like, I think it's fantastic. But as soon as you close that origin loophole, which is why they're defecting from New Zealand. There's no origin. Like, how many players have we seen? Kalen Ponga is talking, will I play for New Zealand? I guarantee if they pick Reece Walsh at 1, he goes and plays for New Zealand. If they
Uh-huh.
pick him at 1, he stays and plays for Australia. Origin's that important. The money's too much. I think this is fantastic for the game.